All right. Anyway, we will check out these games now. We're gonna start with Ryu or Rio and David W.
Yeah, Rio.
Yeah.
Rio de Janeiro is how I
Yep.
always remember.
Yep. I keep wanting to say Ryu, but I know that's
Well, all those O's are there for a reason. I
yeah,
keep
yeah.
thinking.
That's what
So
I mean. That's what it is. It's the ooh.
you want
But
to say
anyway,
Ryu?
let's go look at some picks and bands real quick.
Yes, sir.
Um, and I'm kind of liking what I'm seeing a little bit here. Uh,
Ooh, I think that narrows it down a little.
well, I'm not entirely liking what I'm seeing with these bands, but
Hmm.
Rio band's balcony. That's no problem there. But this other
Hmm.
band,
Uh-oh.
Courtyard, I'm not sure.
Oh
I'm
no.
not sure. Is it? I mean, is this how you win the Courtyard Chicken? I don't
I
know.
think I think this is the War Games thing. The only way to win is not to play.
Just banning it is this the ultimate
Just
win?
ban it. Nobody wins. It's a push. Nobody
Yep.
wins or loses Courtyard Chicken today.
All right.
That's
Anyway,
amazing.
well, the first pick from Rio is Ballroom.
Hmm.
I mean, I haven't been seeing that doubled too often lately. It feels like, but
Well, one of the reasons you haven't seen it double too often is because we haven't cast Rio yet. He loves to double it.
all
He's
right,
picked Ballroom a bunch of times this year.
that's good. And anyway, the next doubled map David W picked is High Rise. That's an interesting one.
Hmm.
That's very unusual. He's actually banned that earlier this season.
All right,
Huh.
well, somebody's coming around to it, I guess. The
Yeah.
next pick out of Rio, the thing I was happy to see is Tayen.
All right. There we go.
And then a map I'm equally happy to hopefully see if we get that far. Final pick out of David W. Aquarium.
Ooh, the fun ones at the end. And now I'm
Yes.
really hoping this one goes the
Yeah, I
distance.
am as
Yeah,
well.
same.
All right. Anyway, let's get these out of the way and get the game on. I'm all loaded up here. Just gotta figure out who's who here. We got a Bling twin, I believe,
Correct.
and it's David W. David W. is the first spy.
Yes, sir.
Let's get this thing underway in 3, 2, 1, playing it. Opening the game at blue bookcase instead of the usual going directly towards the seduction target all the time. Without fail.
Yeah, it actually looked like he was going to get dumped at statues and maybe tried to avoid it. I'm not sure. That's a pretty common thing.
Picking up a green transfer from the back there. It's so hard to see green transfers from that back corner, especially one of the twins, because they've got pretty good green transfer animations.
Yeah, and that pillar helps too. So even if the sniper were looking that way, they weren't in a position to see it, green or not. I think even a white would have been safe given that timing.
Double agent next, it looks like, although still waiting for a few people to actually settle in conversations.
Yeah, you
People
always
are
wanna wait.
settling not in conversation, so David decides to get out of there. Oh, hits the difficult fingerprint as well. That could be big, although he does still take a highlight for it.
Yeah, that is significant, the highlight for sure. But a difficult print early in the game can be very powerful late in the game. And certainly better than hanging around with that double agent, which you weren't going to contact anyway.
Back to blue bookcase is an interesting decision.
Yeah, either there's a print on this or they are idling very actively.
Took out the blue book, so blue book in hand now. Picks up the first flirt with under 2 minutes to play for 26%. Now going to put the blue book away. This has been a very odd game.
So interesting, David stands across from the seduction target, even though there was plenty of room next to her. Maybe doesn't want to appear suspicious there, or specifically didn't want to stand over that briefcase and be obligated to take it right afterwards.
Side statue now. I'm a little bit worried about the clock, but we are going to get their second fingerprint out of this. Under 1 minute and 15 left to play, and that fingerprint is going to be our first completion. And the statue visit is only going to bring us up to, well, actually only one inspect.
Well, one's as good as two almost if you're not going to finish either way. The main thing there was the fingerprint and to give yourself options later in the game, and now this time we're going to try to get a couple missions done. Boom, boom, back to back.
There's the contact coming off.
And you look at that partial progress across 3 different missions, at least one of those is going to go to waste. Which one's it going to be?
Well, we're definitely going to get the statues done. One of the big problems with only getting 1 inspect off the first round instead of 2 is it makes the inspect swap at the end that much harder, but I don't think David's going to go that route. He's still got 30 seconds on the clock to pick up... Oh, maybe just pick up a bullet, actually. That's looking bad.
Uh-oh. Yeah,
Ryoo's on to him.
You don't have time to do seduce. This microfilm's going to be way too risky. DavidW doesn't realize how close they are to dying.
The pillar! The pillar! Okay, now he can... No! What are you doing? David, the zoom!
It's another
There's
green.
it gets done! He puts it away! Now he's just got to survive for 5 seconds of overtime! Slips behind a pillar! Does the shot come off? It doesn't look like it does! And somehow, David W gets it done in game number 1.
How was there not a shot there?
I don't know.
I don't know, man! He didn't see the transfer! What do you want?
I mean,
Yeah.
I just mean overtime. You shoot somebody.
Yeah, that's true.
Shoot. He had 5 seconds to just take it.
Usually when that happens, it means that they have someone who they really think it is, but the timing doesn't line up, so they hesitate for just an extra second or two. And
just pick somebody.
I would say the average shot comes off probably in 3.5 seconds, right? Something like that. So those 2 extra seconds are the difference between the normal 3 and the 5 that was there. Also, how many people are finishing microfilm as a last mission on Ballroom? That's not that common.
Weird.
Yeah. But that's definitely not how DavidW planned there. I think if they'd been able to get that flirt off at the same time they did the banana bread, then they'd only need 1 more at the end, and they could do the much safer thing, even with a microfilm in pocket. But it works.
Yeah. All right.
Well, having just witnessed one of the stranger games of Ballroom I've probably ever seen, now Ryooo steps into the spiral to see if he can answer back in 3, 2, 1, playing it. I said Ryooo again. It's Ryooo.
Pretty close. It's pretty close.
It's too many O's, man.
Too many O's. Take 1 O off, and I'll bet you people will start pronouncing it correctly.
This is probably in range for 49%, although I would have liked to see him tuck in a little bit closer. Nope, it's 48!
Brace yourself, I was just about to say. Oh, boy.
That's why I like to see you tuck in a little bit closer.
Just a little bit. If you can get flirt paired from, 5 pixels closer, you can get flirt paired from this distance, too.
True dat.
So now you're going to 3-flirt anyway, so at least one of these times you probably don't want to cozy up to them.
Yeah.
Now,
probably both times, actually.
Probably. If he's actually going to timer flirt here and possibly hit a green, do we want to preemptively turn the stream volume down? Just in case?
I mean, if he timer flirts this, it can't be 99.
Right. Okay.
I'll still be disappointed in him, but it won't be 99.
I mean, I know it won't be 99. I feel like that means it won't be as loud as possible, but it'll be
97.
pretty loud!
Oh, dang it.
Alright.
Hurts me, track.
I know. I would say anything above 94 hurts you, right? Is that the threshold of pain right there? Is it like mid-90s?
Probably anything above 90 hurts. Because that means you did something wrong.
That's probably true, yeah. It's pretty rare to see like a green test from across the circle to get you to 90.
Yeah. In conversation with a double agent. It's not great, but it's not bad.
No, and all 3 conversations have a reasonable number of people in them.
Now people are starting to file in. Now the seduction target's here as well. Here's the flirt being finished up. Here's the contact as well, and then everyone left.
Yep. Didn't actually take. Yep.
Luckily, we didn't actually right-click before the double agent ran away.
I think they were just getting ready to because a couple more people had filtered into conversations and it suddenly became a pretty good time to do it. Ryoo's only got a minute left here. They've got the seduced done and nothing else. At this point in the previous game, DavidW had partial progress on, 26 missions, it felt like?
Yeah, this has been real slow. Picking up a fingerprint at the green bookcase. Should be able to get a start on a microfilm here as well, but we're going to need some miracles to happen. We're not even taking the book or the microfilm out, not going for the bug and the ambassador on the way through. I don't know what the plan here is for Ryooo. We're 45 seconds left.
Yeah, this is looking tough. There's not a whole lot you can do here. I think you just have to, I don't know, standard what you do is certainly the banana bread first, see if a shot comes off, and if it doesn't, maybe a purloin.
Yeah, there's the contact just in before the beep beeps. Oh, there's the bug behind the back from the conversation. Back in the statues now for the first visit, so this is probably just going to be a swap. There it is. Can't get a good look at it because of Alice. Now sees, getting ready to shoot. General's hat's in the way, delays a moment. Takes the shot. It was a little bit closer than I expected it to be. But either way, DavidW starts off with a strong 2-0.
Wow, really interesting. Ryooo, that bug just came to them at the end and completely changed the calculus of the end game, but decides not to go into center statues. I know it's suspicious, but is it really more suspicious than the swap in this case?
Do you think they would have had time to do 3 inspects, though?
It might have been overtime. There really are no good options at that point. Obviously.
I mean, I think purloin would have worked well from this position.
maybe.
As a non-highlight, no statue visits, but you know, this is Spy Party.
I don't know, he got into that statue at like, what, probably had it in his hands at 21 seconds?
Would have been close. Would have been close.
Probably enough time to make the overtime short enough that a shot's not going to come off.
I mean, it could have easily just been missing the middle pad.
Yeah, hard to say.
I've certainly done worse things.
Well, I'm not surprised that they reached mission win countdown despite the early start. Ryooo has not timed out his spy yet this year.
Wow, that's a statistic.
Yeah.
All right, well, we know what to expect from him. And apparently so does DavidW as he steps back into the spy side of things. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
DavidW, on the other hand, times out so far this season at a rate twice the rest of the division.
Wow.
Yeah, he's much more willing to see that through in the end. And both players, though, are capable of slow playing. The funny thing is, they both use up about 83% of their total available clock. The question is, when you've used up that much and you're not close to done at the end, do you try to rush to finish or do you just accept the timeout? So even though they use similar amounts of time in their average game, the end result in the waning seconds of each game, very different.
Well, speaking of timeouts, that was like a 20-second AI control into going to an innocent window pad, into going to a solo conversation. So...
Not a whole lot going on. This is a little more on brand for DavidW, who does have a reputation for slow playing a bit.
I don't think he's moved his mouse yet. There we go.
There we go. The first click of the game, everybody, other than the take control.
Finally steps into center statues to quote-unquote open the game. Is able to get 3 inspects and a highlight out of it.
That is the standard trade.
Luckily, he is able to intercept his seduction target at an unusual opportunity. 45% on the flirt, although, honestly, technically it was he who stopped before the seduction target, so you can't really pick your positioning there.
Yeah, that was a bit of a
contact!
Risk. Oh, wow.
Banana bread.
Probably covering for a purloin, you gotta imagine, right?
I think so. Oh, doesn't hit what he wants!
No lowlights coming out from Ryooo, and that could be really bad for DavidW because it means he's got a pretty good read on this. Usually you can get 4 or 5 even if you don't see the cough, based on what you are looking at.
Yeah, this is a very difficult situation indeed.
That's either really good or really bad for DavidW, because either he got nothing out of it, or he got everything he needed. Yep.
Everything he needed.
Yeah, he saw it. And that's no small feat. It's very easy to miss those coughs, especially on Ballroom in New Art.
Yeah.
Yeah, my usual thing is, you know, look for someone who's moving, obviously. But let's see what they look like from position. All right, here we go. There was the probably intentional fake BB.
Banana bread.
And then the almost certainly not intentional. Yeah, that was very, very visible.
Yeah, that makes more sense then.
That was so visible. A shame.
That is a shame. Oh well, 2-1.
Either way, Ryooo gets on the board.
Yep. I think we've all been in that similar position.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
You go, oh no, that's not what I want to do.
happens to the best of
And then
us.
you get out of the way and you go, wait, no, that's even worse.
Yep.
All right, Ryooo from the spy side with a chance to tie this up. DavidW sniping for the lead in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, sometimes one mistake leads into another. It's the opposite of momentum. It's like inertia.
Green flirt for 25% is not something you usually get to say.
Some very odd flirting going on in these ballroom games.
It was indeed the bug comes across.
Beautiful from the sniper side. Really good stuff. That is a clean bug from a character who's got a pretty good walking bug when you time it right.
Had the queen, the twin, and the pillar all in great position to cover it. Steps into statues to pick up a pair of inspects and a highlight, but Ryooo is looking very good at the start of this game.
Now, you don't want to say that getting a bug off for free on ballroom is just an automatic win, but if you play clean against the right kind of sniper, it can be pretty darn close to that. So now it's just going to be about making steady progress and daring them to shoot you. DavidW, of course, could be hiding the fact that they saw it, but I think there's a pretty good chance it was clean.
That was a nice bug. I like that path a lot.
Yeah, nice and tight around the edge of the circle. It's a little riskier, but if you can do it, it just looks so AI-like.
Second flirt brings us up to 59%, so we're gonna need another green if we want to hit it in 3, but we've got plenty of time on the clock. Still 2 minutes to play.
DavidW was double zoomed on that drink take from Seek. I do not think Ryooo is even a major suspect. Definitely not the biggest one at this point. If they can just make steady progress, I think they're going to win this game.
I think Ryooo knows it as well. Possibly accidentally hits a fingerprint statue.
Well, that opens things up. Silent game now would be really powerful with the bug.
It would be.
Don't like that path. From the sniper side, that looked like a possible bug path after you've already bugged.
Yeah, it did. Second fingerprint coming in at the blue bookcase.
And it's a difficult. I don't see how you can possibly lose this game now.
Yeah, Ryooo is in... Unless disaster strikes, we've only got 1 minute and 10 left to play for what will possibly be 2 flirts, but that's enough time.
Will the queen stay at windows? Ryooo, I think, is maybe not going to risk it. They're going to wait and see where they end up.
It's a conversation, which is nice to see. And we've got a book in hand, so we have an excuse to step away.
Yep, and you're going to need that. That's very smart because you're not going to be able to time flirt here if you don't hit this green. But if you hit this green, you have to win. Oh, boy.
No green. Back to the blue bookcase we got. Actually, the queen just left.
That'll work just as well. That'll work just as well. Now you don't have to stand anywhere near them, and you're still in really good shape. And if all goes wrong somehow, you've still got that blue book to dump.
A shot comes off, but it's not the correct one. I don't think it would have made a difference either way because Ryooo was in position to take things home either way, and it's tied up after the first map.
So one of the virtues of a silent game is so many snipers are reticent to shoot without the banana bread. In this case, DavidW does shoot for it, but they shoot somebody else. That's not usually how games like that go. Usually silent games, either they see the hardtails or they just let the mission win go through. I would say it's very unusual to have a game like that that ends up in a civ shot.
Yeah, that was not what you expect to see, but the result is just the same.
2-2. We are knotted up. Big win for Ryooo there.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Gets him right back into things after a bit of a slow start. Now, stepping in to high rise, and this is 3 of 5.
Yeah, and this is DavidW's pick. Oh, and I guess we should look at what's been disabled. Inspect's been disabled.
Yeah, that's pretty
in
unusual.
favor for a swap.
That is... I can't literally say it's unheard of, but I won't hear of it.
Yeah.
That's a gutsy move. I understand there are 8 statues here, and it's gonna distract. But I guess you're waiting for the sniper to rotate to the far right and then bug. I don't know. It's an
Yeah.
interesting choice.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's not. I mean, some might say inspect is equally suicidal, but inspect is a thing that AIs do as well.
Yep.
So
And
you
they
know,
don't swap.
yeah, they do not. Yeah, they generally don't swap.
There are no recorded instances of AI swapping yet.
Except for
We'll
green
see. We're
swaps.
still searching. Except for green. Well, so honestly, that's the only thing I can see here is maybe you force them
Yeah,
into a
I don't know.
difficult 50-50.
But yeah, but anyway, it's a decision. We'll see if that pays off. Go for it, Tobo.
Either way, available missions are Bug, Contact, Swap, Seduce, and Fingerprint. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
And the overall numbers for DavidW and High Rise are good in SCL history. He hasn't played a whole bunch, but he's won half his spy games and almost 9 out of 10 of his sniper games.
In conversation with the double agent to open the game. Looked almost like a bug path on the way in, but because of that pesky drink, you weren't able to take it.
And he probably picked this because Ryooo, who's done pretty well as spy on High Rise, has only played 4 sniper games on it and has only won 1 of them.
That's definitely a pretty good reason to take the plunge on it. And 3 of 5 game types are game types where you can afford to slow play a lot.
Yeah, DavidW leaving that conversation. Maybe, I don't know if they're trying to fake a red flirt or if they were just interrupted by Salmon and figured I can leave. But usually the etiquette stuff, whether you care much about it or not in a given game, on High Rise, both the spy and the sniper have to care about it a lot more than they normally do.
That's not in range, David. %31% is not a number you want to see, although with the amount of time we have on the clock, forcing a 3 flirt, just trying not to get too cuddly with anybody in this conversation. There's certainly an argument to be made for that. Very nice that the section target decides to step back in. Fake contact.
I'm guessing that was supposed to be a seduce, although timer may not be up yet.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. Attempted seduce before the flirt timer finished.
Yeah, but it works out pretty well because the double agent is in the other conversation, and I think 6 different people could have a real banana bread, and Seek is moving around a lot. And if they get a fingerprint here too...
82% on the flirt, minute and 50 to play.
So this is the trade-off. When your seduction target moves around on a Softail variant, on a 2-3 on balcony or a 3-5 or something, on one hand, it's harder to flirt with them. On the other hand, they're usually doing stuff and they could get shot, and that's just as good.
DavidW stepping into statues.
Never mind.
You have to keep in mind that statues are not agreed. Swap. What?
That is, out of all the statues, I would potentially green swap to try to get into a 50-50 here. That is literally the last one I would do. The ones on the far right are the most obvious because they can't guard them consistently, so it'll be 50-50. The ones on the left are sometimes not seen when they're trying to protect the Amba like the sniper is right now, but this is the most visible statue from basically any angle. So the only thing is, will they not look at all? A low light picks it up, by the way.
That could be really good. There's the swap having come off. It's very likely, despite it being on camera, that Ryooo hasn't noticed yet. DavidW is at a different statue now.
And that's the statue normally you would swap here. But is this just counter true enough to work? They're rethinking that low light. Here's what's interesting. The thing is, Ryooo doesn't low light for just the up.
The shot comes off!
Well,
Amazing.
DavidW sure showed
target.
up. DavidW is like, what? You dissing my
How
swap
dare
cards?
you question me, you insolent casters?
Yeah, what do we know?
So here's why I think that potentially works there. If the sniper reliably only takes hard lowlights, that burns you. Because when they see that swap from a lowlight, they're like, it couldn't have been them. Who was there before? Boom. On the other hand, Ryooo was lowlighting for other things.
Yeah.
So they're mixing in hard lowlights and soft lowlights with that banana bread. So when they see the lowlight swap, they can't confidently remember what the lowlight was for.
Yeah.
And so they have to bump them back up, and it becomes a 50-50 anyway, simply because they're not looking at it.
Exactly as DavidW drew that up. That's exactly
Yep.
It works. Who am I to question what works?
DavidW with a lead now.
And Ryooo not following in the swap strat goes back to what I would probably call standard, which is Inspect
Yep.
is Softails and Bug.
Mm-hmm.
Softails and Bug in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, so that strat actually, even if you like it in general, it actually works less when your opponent does it in front of you, because now it's at the forefront of everyone's mind. So it works a
Yeah.
lot better on the first spy game, regardless of which side it's coming from, than it does on the second.
I don't think we're quite in range for a Bug, but even if we were, this is a bad spot for it. It's way too exposed.
You would just be trying to guess at the sniper's rotation, is really the only way you would get away with it. And that can work. Certainly when they go to highlight someone, maybe as someone approaches statues, if you time it just right, but that's a big risk.
When Toby lowers the tray or something like that.
Yeah, if Purloin were on, yeah. But it's
Certainly
amazing.
not on this map in this setup. Either way, able to pick up a quick flirt for 51%, but takes a highlight for his troubles.
Is this our first 51% flirt?
I think it is.
They're usually a lot more common than this. It's high rise, so nothing's happening. Oh, Tobo, what kind of plant is that, do you think, by the blue bookshelf? Does anyone know what kind of plant that is?
Some sort of fern?
A fern? Is it a fern? Yeah. I'm not sure how much ferns vary.
It's hard to say. Second flirt, 85%. Want to approach the next one from a bit of a distance, probably.
And Ryooo is highlight, as you pointed out, but there are several other highlights, too.
That's true. Like, half of this party is glowing.
Yeah, there are more highlight non-cast members than neutral lit ones. So I'm not really sure that's a big mark against Ryooo.
Minute and 45 to play. No mission completions yet. But you only need 3 of them, and we've got most of a flirt done. There's the cooldown, and the next flirt to finish up the first mission.
And this would be an awfully good time for banana bread. Or fake.
It'll have to be a fake, because that's not the real double agent.
But you're in a full conversation of glowing people. It would be so effective. Look at this. Even though it wouldn't be a real banana bread, it would be really good.
Ryooo stepping over to the green bookcase to pick up a fingerprint. A difficult fingerprint as well. Had to hit the green for it, and did.
And 2 statues now have the second fingerprint, and neither of them are the center statue, so you won't be shot necessarily for inspects. A lot of options here now to finish fingerprint. Also a briefcase right there. Yep.
Doing the briefcase instead of either of the statues. Probably quicker this way, which is very good because we're very low on time. Was there not a fingerprint on that briefcase? Because that sucks.
Yeah, that's real unfortunate, and now you only have 30 seconds left. You haven't done the banana bread. Here it comes. You're going to have to rush the statues to get a print, though.
It's not a bad contact, but I think you just might get shot for this. Indeed, he did. Too worried about the fingerprints, I guess. Definitely a strong shot coming out of David, who is back in front by 2.
There are 2 thoughts here. One is that, hey, the doubly bad thing about not knowing if that briefcase has a print if you're the spies, that sometimes the sniper's not sure either, so they have to shoot anyway. The other being that the ambo was moving around a lot that game, so there were a lot of prints floating around. And in that scenario, if you as a sniper don't feel you have a good grip on who's done with them, it's not unreasonable to look at the timing and say, you know what, I only had to miss 1, so I'm going to take the shot, assuming the second happened at some other time. Now, it's a lot easier to credit a second print on a bigger venue. Usually on high rise, you can track them all, but every now and then it gets away from you, and you have to take a difficult shot. In this case, it was difficult, but it was right.
Certainly worked out. David up by 2. This is his map, and he's doing a good job with it.
And in the second spy game from David, swamp is disabled, so this was apparently a one-time strat, which is fair. Most snipers will not let you get away with something like that twice.
Yeah, especially now that we've talked about it for several minutes. Sorry, David, that was at least it worked. It worked the one time you did it. Good job.
All right, back into the breach once more, this time with the standard setup of bug, contact, inspect, seduce, and fingerprint. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
That was like my own personal pun. I literally played Into the Breach for the first time ever about 2 hours ago.
Wow. How do you like it?
It's really good. I knew the community in general really liked it, so I knew for certain that I was going to, and I've been saving it for a special occasion.
Ambassador in a dangerous position, and Ryooo knows it, not letting anything get by him here. Oh, that walk right next to him for a little while. But Ryooo was in perfect position to see that no bug occurred.
It's really tricky to take those bugs earlier because you can be throwing away a game, and sometimes if you just wait on high rise for a little while, AIs will do things and get shot. There's an inherent value to drawing out these games when you can.
In conversation with the double agent, but there are a lot of people outside of conversation right now.
Yeah, I don't think you can do it here. Just a little too risky.
Luckily, seduction target drops in to say hi. Green test for 38%. Still in conversation with the double agent, waiting for things to fill up a little bit.
Yeah, a little more on that bug too. Rushing a bug on something like Ballroom maybe, where it can win you the game as we saw game, makes a little more sense because your odds of winning maybe aren't great to begin with, depending on the venue. On high rise, it's not that sniper favored, so you really can be throwing away a really good chance of winning a spy game by taking that all or nothing chance in the beginning.
Flirt cooldown has expired.
Oh boy. A lot of lowlights coming out.
Banana bread.
There's the contact.
Let's see if these lowlights get reconsidered. They were in with an SDA, Seek and one of the twins. No. Wow. Ryooo is hanging on to these soft lowlights again when they indirectly cost them the last game.
Well, down to 4. Second flirt comes off. A white test for 64%. Just barely not in 3 flirt range.
And one of the lowlights
green.
ran into the ambassador, which is really interesting, and he gets bumped back up for it potentially. So the problem was you had a low light with a low lit ambassador because Ryooo likes to low light rather than highlight the ambassador. If that character was the spy and bugged, it would have been basically invisible.
Into statues for the last flirt. Are we able to get it off? We didn't even try. I think probably the cooldown didn't play nice with us.
I mentioned last game that taking soft lowlights inadvertently cost them the game because of that swap and made the swap more powerful. In this
Oh,
game,
the bug! A beautiful little wrong arm bug on the way out of the statue!
Yep, and even zoomed in, I don't think Ryooo saw it. They were zoomed, they didn't have the perfect angle, but they had a pretty normal one. It was just that good and just that well-timed. And this is probably going to be a win for DavidW now.
There's the flirt. Does not hit the green. It's 97%, but that bug was a thing of beauty. It was the arm that was easier to see, which is the one that you expect to see go out for the bug, was clearly still in motion.
Yeah, but look at this. You're going to have to do a really aggressive flirt here at the end. It's not ideal, but you have to do it instead of statues. Statues are too dangerous with banana bread already having gone on.
Don't have to be close, though. It's 97%. We can afford to take this easy.
There's going to be
Letting off
overtime.
a couple of seconds of overtime, maybe 2.5. Who is Ryooo going to take the shot on? It doesn't look like it's going to be DavidW. There's overtime. Not enough to take a shot with. And DavidW maintains the streak on high rise.
Wow. 5-2, I believe it is now. Is that right?
5-2.
It is, yes. And we're going to need to take a look at that bug from the sniper's view.
Yeah, so that's 2 for DavidW, 2 for Ryooo, and now 3 for DavidW. So here's something else about that about the lowlight thing. So the lowlight strategy of taking the soft lowlights in the first game inadvertently gets the swapper shot. In this game, you actually, I don't think you can afford to take soft lowlights and continue to lowlight the ambassador. It has to be one or the other. And as a result,
God, that bug was
if I had a sick bug cam, you'd be seeing it now. Yeah,
wow.
it just
yeah,
the big. I mean, the thing that really helped was the briefcase return. Like most of the arm time is spent being inside Pearl's
Yeah, I mean, you could see a little bit with the arm
Yeah.
movement. That's it, though. I mean, you have to be
I mean,
selling out to see that.
also Toby is also being a bro.
Yeah. Oh, look, there's Toby. There's, yeah, the briefcase return. There's 2 people back to back, and it's just good timing, too.
Yep.
That's huge. It's about as good as it's going to get, really, on high rise.
And just so you know, the model for the plant is just called tree, so that does not help at all.
Especially because I really don't think that's a tree. But okay, fair enough.
Yeah. If you see the full model, it looks more like a tree. I think it's been shoved into the pot a little bit.
Oh, interesting.
But anyway.
Trivia, everybody.
Ryooo!
Anyway, it's a tree.
Back on the spy side.
It's canon.
On the same mission layout we've had the past few games. No transfer, no swap, no purloin. Almost needs this game to stay in it from the spy side. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
I'm really fascinated by the way the lowlights are interacting with these strategic choices, though. I understand
Cool.
highlighting the AMBA or lowlighting it. No, you're okay. Nothing's
Luckily, you was zoomed in, so didn't actually see that little twitch, but it was there, and it was weird.
Yeah, but anyway, I think if you're going to take those soft lowlights on high rise, you have to at least temporarily switch up the way you treat the AMBA, because otherwise it's just such a huge risk. If you take hard lowlights, it works fine, and if you don't lowlight the AMBA, it works fine, but if you don't do either, they combine in very unfortunate ways, and that brought Seek back up, and I think they were watching Seek a little later in that game instead of seeing things like that bug.
Oh, I thought that was going to be a rush for a second there. 50% on the flirt, right into center statues, but only took 1 inspect and 1 cycle out of it. There's a 2 flirt done as well. Like
now
30
you've got
seconds
some choices.
in.
Yep, now you've got some choices. You're in with the double agent too. Oh boy.
Double agent left because briefcase. Curse you, double agent.
You could go get the inspects first. I don't know.
If he'd stayed for 2 cycles at that statue and got the contact off in time, that would have been one of the craziest rushes I've ever seen on this map.
Yeah. So the thing about this is, if you're going to finish anyway, they're going to credit flirt, right? So
Same statue.
Normally you're crediting flirt on high rise. Now that you've waited down to 2 minutes, you're at the point where they're likely to credit flirt regardless if you finish inspect and contact the double agent potentially. So the tricky thing is, so you've now lost by not rushing. You've lost the potential value of that 2 flirt. Now it's just now it is necessarily no better unless someone's really flirt tracking. It's no better than a 3 or a 4 flirt now.
Another statue visit. This one's different. Staying away from fingerprints. Staying at the statues to just dare DavidW to call him on it.
Well, the double agent's not contactable anyway.
No, she is very much not cooperating. I like how Ryooo is removing himself from the sniper's gaze as much as possible for a little while. Now chases the double agent in. Not a bad redirect. Bit of a scary path next to the ambassador.
This
Moment
is as
of
good as you're
truth.
gonna get. Yeah, there were more highlights in there before, but there's still 2 of them in there with you. This is a pretty good time to take it and see if they shoot.
Rocker is talking.
Here we go, everyone but Smallman. This is great.
It's a white test. One of the highlights left. There it is. 10 seconds.
Into the take. Big moment of truth here.
Lasers
I don't think he's going to shoot it.
Rocker. I don't think he's going to take the shot either. And Ryooo makes it happen and stays within 2.
Still at a deficit, even with that spy win at the end. That's how much DavidW's been winning on spy. But yes, 5-3, heading into one of the most volatile venues there is.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Taeyen.
Oh boy. Buckle up.
Buckle up indeed. This map is nuts. It's really easy to get basically everything that's happening on this map obscured. Bugs can be almost free. There are many times we just have to credit them. It's going to be a little bit easier for Ryooo starting out on the sniper side with all the Soji on one side rather than both. Let's see what he can make of it in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
We're dealing with a really small sample size, but so far in SCL, Taeyeon this season. Spies are winning this Shoji configuration 60% of the time, as opposed to 49% overall.
Isn't that interesting?
Again, very small sample size, but generally speaking, we know that there are some differences at the extremes. If all the statues are uncovered, it's bad for the spy. If all of them are covered, it's probably pretty good. But for the most part, it really is just about avoiding the opposite, about having all the statues exposed. As long as you don't get that, it's not too bad. You'd probably rather have some variation here, you know, one and then the other. One at statues, one at books to start off, something like that. But this is better than the opposite.
Bug, early in the game, completely free because Taeyeon stepping into center statues.
Taeyeon is the only venue we cast Tobo where a bug happens and you don't even raise your voice.
Yeah, this is true.
I mean, why do it? It's not what the game's going to turn on. We both know it.
Takes a highlight for the center statue visit, but gets 3 inspects out of it as well. Wanted the flirt there, but seduction target wasn't quite having it. 2 minutes and 15 on the clock.
And the inspects are already done, and usually there's a little bit of a high-rise feel to this. Do I go to inspects, right? Because if the banana bread's gone off and someone's gone to inspects, sometimes you just credit the bug and you shoot. Sometimes it feels very much like a 3-5 variant. So going to the inspects early kind of narrows the possible outcomes here for DavidW. They're kind of committing to a certain type of game earlier.
Well, we've got the bug done. We're in position to get a good start on the flirt. Hits the green test, so certainly capitalizes on it. We might be able to get 2 flirts here and finish the mission.
Double Agent joins.
This could be big.
It's a pretty decent time. They don't realize how many of the people outside the conversation are lowlights right now.
That's
Like
true.
Salmon at statues, for example, is a big one.
Oh, and as people were starting to settle in conversations as well, decides to bail out.
I think they might end up regretting that. I can definitely see this being a rush now late. It looked like you were going to be able to bang out that mission and then have a flirt to go, but now you're relying on the party a little bit more.
1 minute to play. Double Agent is no longer on the table. DavidW goes to green bookcase instead of taking the flirt.
I gotta imagine this is a backup plan book right here. That's what this book says on the spine. It says backup plan.
Well, it takes a fingerprint off of it. So there's another piece to the backup plan. Needs this green flirt. Doesn't hit it. 85%.
And your options just went way down now. Now, suddenly, the plan B might have become plan A.
But the seduction target steps away. We can put this book down and chase the seduction target, but we still need 1 more mission off the back of it.
This is all just happening a little too late.
There's lots of fingerprints available, but we don't have time. 8
Seduce
seconds.
Purloin. Yep, it's going to be Seduce and Purloin, and you're going to be
Purloin.
so
Purloin is green. There's the flirt done. We're hanging at 0, ladies and gentlemen.
And that's going to really narrow it down.
No react to this. There's the take. There's the shot. And Ryooo is fighting back.
Huge win for Ryooo, especially given the position DavidW was in with inspects and bug done so early. So many options there. They just really needed 30 more seconds to bring that home any other number of ways.
I guess David just does not like contacting the double agent, and I don't know what else to say about that. There were plenty of opportunities.
Yeah, there were. Salmon was at statues during that later one, which seemed like the best one in particular. It's entirely possible they didn't want to give them that low light, but we knew from the sniper side that Salmon was already low lit.
Yeah, maybe David thought that they were more suspicious. Let me see that bug from their side. I believe got. Yeah, that was actually a pretty darn good bug. I mean, obviously it's tan, but even considering, it worked out. It was pretty hard to see. Just even the path looked pretty natural.
1 more to tie.
Yep. Oh yeah. And both of them still have a chance to score a win here.
1 more to tie from the spy side of Taeyeon. Not a bad place to be. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Not bad at all. Normally you don't want to be on the spy side when you need a win to tie, but on Taeyen, I don't know, flip a coin for which role you'd rather play.
Starts things out on blue books.
Flip a coin, by the way, pretty close to literal. So far in, let me see, 107 Taeyen games this season, snipers are winning 51% of the time.
This time we have both bookcases covered and the back statues covered as well. Attempted reverse drive-by bug doesn't take, but it doesn't matter because it was basically free.
And the end of red.
Contact comes off early.
Smallman is the double agent on Taeyen. Interesting.
Interesting indeed. No lowlights from that contact, by the way.
Yeah, there was only one real lowlight, which would have been Taft, who was at statue, so I don't know.
That is an incredible contact. Highlight for some reason. First flirt comes off for 25% as well.
I mentioned earlier that Taeyen sometimes feels like a 3-5 variant. Well, the highlighting strategies on it sometimes can feel like balcony.
You're not wrong.
Ooh, the pathing's a lot harder, though.
Innocent drink take with 2 minutes to play. Gets a fingerprint off of it, though, so that could be useful later on. Ambassador was not able to shove his way into the conversation, so steps out back to his joy to enjoy his drink instead.
And there's a little bit of a seduce done. There's one fingerprint done. And it looks like we're going to try to get a mission done here.
Yep, second fingerprint. The briefcase just takes the shot! DavidW making a statement there.
Yeah, I mean, so we know that the seduce wasn't close to finishing, and we know that they hadn't bugged either. But they might have seen the bug attempt. They might be crediting bug. They're probably crediting flirt with 90 seconds left. So as far as they're concerned, that's the last mission.
And the end of
Or
red.
could be. That's the crazy thing about Taeyen. You could have one mission complete, going for your second, both of them soft tails. From the sniper side, you could theoretically be done. That's Taeyen in a nutshell.
You're not wrong. And now DavidW has bought himself at least 1 point and 2 match points to play with to see if he can get another. And he's starting things off on the spy side of Aquarium. Ryooo on the sniper. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Starting out with top right shark for your aquarium pleasure. So he's bottom left or top right for those who don't know.
Picks up an early delegate and an early highlight. Probably a highlight just to track where the drinks have been and where people are going. I don't think this is going to last.
A lot of highlight choices here on Aquarium. You can do statue visits, you can do statue completes, you can do bar visitors, you can do real banana bread sometimes, and frankly, the best of the best, in my opinion, are the ones that change based on circumstances, but that's hard to do memory-wise. But if you can do it, it's the most powerful, because in some games, in different games, each of those respective highlight strategies can be much better than the other two, potentially.
Looked like a great contact for a moment, but the double agent steps away, so we're not able to get it off. 27% on the flirt, drink in hand, fake contact with 1 low light, maybe 2?
3 were possible, and Ryooo got 2 of them. Walt could have been a low light as well.
That was...
Pretty good.
That was a top-notch play. I approve.
It's not bad. I think the fakes are powerful enough, yeah, and I don't think you're giving up too much either in that case.
Look at this. Neutral lit exactly as the cooldown expires. Second flirt comes off for 69%, so that is in range for a 3 flirt if we get a little bit closer than we are now.
And you can get a lot of
much either.
This is a lot like Taeyen, not just because of the occlusion, but because you can get a lot of missions done in a very short period of time if you want. So you can really afford to burn a minute or 2 on things like fakes or timer flirts.
And it's the timer flirts we've been grabbing so far. Just under 2 minutes to play now as we step into blue bookcase.
And this doesn't look like a microfilm because the shark's not going to be anywhere near you for a couple of cycles here. This is just killing time.
Well, DavidW just killed plenty of that already.
Plenty of time, plenty of spies. Is not going to go finish that flirt. Very interesting. I thought maybe the book was there to break up the flirts, but no. I think it's going to be the drink too, probably, and then the flirt.
That seems like the plan. Certainly the drink.
A lot of good candidates here for Delegate 2. Look at all these highlights.
Delegating to the seduction target seems like the easy way to do it, but no, David is actually going for the double agent. That was a path and a half.
You can split here behind the shark and really throw things into disorder.
Oh, this double agent is just not having it.
Well, she was delegated to, that's why. Delegated to the double agent behind the shark. And now we're going to finish the flirt.
That may have just been a misclick.
I don't know.
Sometimes here's the flirt done.
Sometimes you delegate to a cast member because they don't expect it and nobody's looking. The list is gone. Ryoo's hesitating with the... Yup, and there's the shot.
Wow. Delegated to a cast member. A wrong shot comes off.
Yeah, that was just unfortunate. I don't know if taking the drink behind the shark helped at all there.
Well, what helped, I think, is that Pearls there had done a fingerprint earlier. She was a highlight, and she finishes her drink as the double agent requests the drink at bar. So it looks like she's getting rid of her drink, and they don't see where the Pearl comes from.
Yeah.
They were not even in the same conversation, though, that the double agent came from. So, and why would you watch? Why would you watch a cast member leave? Because you don't usually delegate to cast members. In this case, that and the timing of the last drink, I think, are what did it.
Yeah, well, I mean, although since it was a SDA, it can potentially be that the spy doesn't know that they're a cast member in the eyes of the sniper.
I thought Teal was the DA.
Well, yes, but the sniper doesn't know that.
Oh, correct. Yes, yeah. Either they just know that it's a cast member. That's all. So right. You're right. There's a very small chance that the spy could have done it accidentally.
Yeah, that in fact happened in my game with Magician.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's a bummer.
No, it's fine. No, Magician was on the receiving end of that.
Oh, congratulations. I'm sorry, Magician. That's a really good win for DavidW. 7-4. Obviously, Ryooo, no slouch. So that's not the kind of one you were chalking up as a win. That gives DavidW 15 points, if I have not counted incorrectly here. They have not lost yet. They have a few draws.
That is pretty good.
Yeah, and a couple of those are by forfeit because there's been a little bit of attrition there in bronze. But the main thing is DavidW, of the matches they've played, has not lost yet. Yep. And Ryoo's no slouch either. 5-1-1. There are a lot of high scores right now at the top of bronze. And so given that both of these players are near the top, that's a really big win for DavidW in that pile up.